In March this year, after some months of drought, we visited sheep and beef farmers Danny and Robyn Angland, who have managed Kereru Station in Hawke's Bay since 2007. In 2013, the couple won the Silver Fern Farms Hawke's Bay Farmer of the Year award.
Kereru Station's 2,900 hectare property, 2,114 effective. It's a charitable trust which was established in 1968. We have a board of trustees that allocate that money to causes throughout Hawke's Bay. The strengths is obviously its contour. It's got 540 hectares of flats, it's got medium to rolling country and steep gorges. Weaknesses, it's very light soil, so we've got to be very careful with any country we turn over, and also grass grub damage. Because the soils are so light, we have a lot of issues there, so we try and keep minimum tillage and direct drill pastures, and with the grass grub as well, we have to turn over our flats every 5 to 7 years to keep our production or productivity up. Because of the pasture growth, and we get cold winters, we get mild winters, so we've got a lot of flexibility with our bull systems. They're our big sort of area where we can chop and change depending on how we're going. We winter around 1,100 Friesian bulls mainly, and they can be different age groups from R1s to R2s, and 500 to 600 of them are put on winter crops. 4 years ago, we bought the neighbouring property, 400 hectares. That was a really good challenge for us. Kereru Station hadn't purchased land since the 50s, so it was a big change, and the trustees felt we should be growing the business, and we all got on board. That opportunity came up. Going forward, I think we will keep growing the business. As to in which direction, we're not sure, but we're always doing strategic planning and trying to work out what is the best option. What we looked at after the 2008-9, we got dry when we were struggling to finish all our lambs. When it did get dry, we were having to store up to 40–50% of our lambs. And again, the bull policy was having an impact on that as well. So we didn't just change the land use here, we changed our bull policies to fit, I suppose, to try and take a bit of the risk out of our business. So the Lucerne at this stage, what seems to fit, I suppose, is we lamb all our early lambing ewes on the grass pad, and then by sort of mid-August, into September, about 6 weeks after the lambs are docked, which can be September, we start then shedding the lambs, ewes and lambs with twins at foot, onto the Lucerne. We get that up to around 18 to 22 per hectare, and then we carry them through right through to mid-November when we have our first pick of our early lamb ewes. And it's been getting better and better. We used to kill, if we're lucky, 500 lambs a year, which might have equated to 20% lambs the last 2 years. 2 years ago we did 60%. This last year we did 71% off mum at over 18 kilos carcass weight. So it's been huge as far as getting rid of sort of 1,700 lambs off straight away mid-November. Then we're able to then bring lambs in off the breeding units. Those male lambs are the next line in onto the lambs, and they're doing sort of 350 to 400 grams a day, potentially, the tops of them. So the Lucerne just becomes a finishing factory. We've set it up permanently, so we're hoping it'll be here. The stands anyway should last 10 to 13 years minimum before we'd probably need to come in and look at options. With Lucerne, you've got to let it flower, at least 50% flower. So then you've got to decide what you do with it, because obviously the stand's sort of getting up to 3 or 4 feet high. This year, we cut it and put it into silage under a big stack. That's mainly for drought proofing. And the other option is obviously grazing it back down, which we've done in the past as well. The negative sides of it, it's pretty much winter dormant. So you need to have a balance as to what you do because that's quite an area off the station, 72 hectares, it's not growing any pasture through winter when you're not getting a lot of growth. What we've done to compensate that is we put in winter crops of kale and a little bit of oats, depending on the season and what paddock's coming in and out. And that sort of seems to balance it out. So those 3-month, 4-month period when there is no grazing on the Lucerne blocks, we've made it up by having crops to offset it. We have an early lambing flock of 2,200 ewes. They're 5 and 6 year old ewes. They go to a terminal sire, which is a Pole Dorset or Southdown. The ram's out with them on the 1st of March. Up on Thorn Flat, which is the breeding unit, there's 7,500 ewes up here. They go to a straight Romney, and the ewe flock's pretty much straight Romney as well. the drought hit us pretty hard, but we're just starting to get up. We're sort of skiing around the 170, 175 in the mixed stage, and Tutu sort of around the early 160s. Staff on the property is a big component. Kereru Station, being the size it is not a property I can run on my own, so very reliant on having a good staff. I think we run a very good team, and it's run as a team environment. In saying that, everyone's got a specific job description to fulfil, and with that comes accountability with the responsibility, I suppose. So there is a clear structure, and even above that, or in the other direction, with the trustees through to the farm consultant. So we've got a very good management team around the whole property, which well.
We won the Hawke's Bay Farmer of the Year award last year in 2013. To be honest, it was just going in for experience. Part of the process was being able to benchmark against other businesses, and which you don't often get to do in the farming sector. So that was a good opportunity to do that.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.